Welcome back, my awesome people. In today's episode, I will be interviewing one of the greatest success stories in entrepreneurship. So you will definitely want to stay tuned for this. As you know, car wrapping has been booming recently, and many people are looking to get into this sector, whether it's a side job or to even start a full-time business. So because I listened to you, my awesome people, I have brought in one of the best car wrappers in North Carolina to give you a breakdown of the car wrapping world and the simple steps that you need to take to get started, and also what not to do to avoid problems. So I bring you RJ, a highly accomplished military veteran who took his passion for cars and turned it into a high demand business where he vinyl wraps some of the most expensive, prestigious, and celebrity owned cars. Located in North Carolina, RJ went from wrapping a few cars a week from his front yard for those in his local community to having his own enterprise and having cars being sent to him for his wrap work and attention to detail. His precise craftsmanship is one of a kind, and his clients keep coming back because of his great attitude and customer satisfaction guarantee. So I will stop yapping now and let's get into it. Welcome back, my awesome people. Now today I have another interview with an amazing entrepreneur. I have RJ from his business of wrapping cars with vinyl, tinting, so much more. And you will get to know not only RJ himself, but also the business that he has expanded and created. It is one of a kind because, as I always say, one day I'm on Instagram, I see something cool and interesting in the business world, and I want to get them on my platform. So RJ, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Welcome and thank you. And I'm honored that you're on my channel today. Just to give everybody a little behind the scenes. I pretty much was exactly on Instagram, scrolling through, saw some really cool and interesting things that RJ was doing with his business in the car wrapping world, in the automotive world, and you'll get to know more of that. And so I just DM'd him and said, hey, RJ, would it be cool if you came on my platform? It'll be good for the both of us. And he agreed, and here we are. So RJ, just to begin, can you tell us a bit more about your background, your journey into the car wrapping industry, and what inspired you to start your own business?
So pretty much joined the military. I was in for about 7 years. That's when I really kind of figured out about car wrapping. I was out in Hawaii and I seen a couple cars that were wrapped. Started trying it myself and stuff, but never really picked it up. Then I went out to school in LA, graduated from UTI for collision repair. And from there, I worked at a collision shop for 1 month. I absolutely hated it. I hated it. And I was just looking around for more like car related stuff that I could do. And I ended up at a wrap shop called Maverick Wraps.
Nice.
He was another entrepreneur. He was a firefighter, ex-military. He had just started his vinyl shop that year, and I was kind of helping him build it up and kind of just being on his payroll and stuff like that. And after a while, I did end up moving away from there out to San Diego, where I kind of started rapping just out of my driveway, just for like extra money. I was day trading and wrapping cars, and it kind of took off. I was doing like one car a week just from my driveway. People were driving from LA, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
like
wow.
this could actually be a thing.
Did you
And
have marketing going on at this point
I
or
did
just
not
word of
have
mouth?
marketing. This was like from the ground up. I was literally there's a Instagram called Big Bang Car Meets in LA. It had like 250K people, and what I would do was I would follow a bunch of people, have them follow me back. I follow like maybe 40K people, just trying to like, get my page seen and stuff like that. And I was
Of
posting my work,
course.
and a lot of people were hitting me up. So it was more of like pure organic. I didn't put any money into marketing and stuff like that. I didn't even know what it was. At that time, I was just doing something.
That's
Everything that
actually
I really
very
learned.
amazing. That's actually
Yeah.
amazing.
So it was just from the ground up, and I learned everything as I went along through YouTube, literally through YouTube.
So pretty much your skills came from YouTube University. You pretty much went online, looked up some videos, tutorials, And pretty much is that how you pretty much built your skills, I guess? And of course, I'm sure you had mentors and others around, but I guess
Yeah.
YouTube was your first, I guess, glimpse into, okay, I'm actually doing this.
Yeah, so the car wrapping came from actually working at the shop with the guy who was building up his business. And then a lot of the hands-on stuff that I was doing, like my first couple of cars, I was learning as I went. And it was just friends' cars and stuff like that. And then it started to be like, friends of friends, and then it was just more like random people just hit me up. But as for my accounting, learning everything about taxes, everything about businesses, how to set up LLCs, all that stuff purely through YouTube. And
Amazing.
yeah.
Because I always try to tell my viewers and anybody that I meet that YouTube University is a thing. You don't have to learn, everything, but you can learn some really important things that one can cut costs instead of hiring someone. Two, you as the owner or as the founder can actually learn the background of your business because I know a lot of people just designate. And then when something happens, the owner or the founder kind of clueless to what's happening. But yeah, no, like when I started this channel, YouTube University, I used YouTube to start a YouTube channel. So I'm always into telling people go to YouTube University. These days, when it comes to education, it's not just limited to the schools; it's everywhere. And so, in the car wrapping world, when you first started, were you greatly accepted? You started off with one car in your driveway, maybe to two cars in your driveway, and then before you know it, how long did it take for you to expand your growth?
So yeah, I started out with a couple cars here and there. I was actually hated. People hate professional car rappers, hate people who rap outside. They're like, oh, you're gonna get contamination. How can you rap outside in the sun? It's very hard to rap outside in the sun. It's like 80 degrees. The rap gets all like gooey and stuff. So it is very difficult, but it was just something like I'm like, okay, I got to get outside by 6:30 when the sun comes up before it gets too hot. I got to wrap a couple panels. And then when the shade starts to cast over the house and it's cooler on this side of the car, I go to that side of the car and I wrap it. And I was just like figuring it out, just like same thing with the business side of it. Like, I mean, like you said, you could go to school for something, but I'm in school right now about to get my bachelor's for business, and it hasn't taught me as much as YouTube. So it's really just like YouTube and just going in, getting hands on, doing it yourself and kind of figuring it out. That's how it goes. And then I was in San Diego for about 6 months doing the driveway wraps. And then I ended up moving back home to North Carolina because I had more connections here. I knew more people. I was done with my military term. I was doing National Guard. That's why I was still in California. But once that ended, I moved back home and it took off. Everybody from back home knew that I wrap cars and stuff like that. And I partnered up with my buddy. He owns a detailing shop. And I was like, look, man, let's partner up. Material costs will be 1/3 of it. I'll take my cut, you take your cut, and then we'll just be partnered together. Like I'll use your shop, you make profits off of me, but you do all the booking, the ordering of materials and supplies, kind of keep all of the management load off my back so I could focus more on the installs and stuff like that. And it worked really good that way, going from doing it by myself and trying to get all the supplies and sit on the phone all day with people and all the customer service stuff while doing installs is just a lot to handle. So when I got there with him and we started doing it all together, I started doing like 2 cars a week with like side jobs in between, when before it was just like 1 car a week for very low prices because I'm doing it out of my driveway. So no one wants to pay you a lot for driveway wrapper. So yeah.
And you know what? Every business owner has a beginning, and so at least you remember your beginning. You remember your humble beginnings when you were working on a driveway. But now you got a full shop. Now you have everything that you need. And just from looking at your Instagram content, you work on some high-end cars. I saw the one video when you're working on the yellow Ferrari. I think you said it came from a different country or a different state, or it got transported in, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
That
but
that Ferrari was actually a race vehicle.
Yeah, it looked like a race car. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a race vehicle. It was, I mean, it was out in Beverly Hills where the car actually sits before it goes to races and stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, McLarens, Ferraris, Lambos, all the way down to the rust bucket Honda Civic. Like, I don't discriminate. You want me to wrap your toilet, your gun, your wall, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm doing it, you know?
Yeah, because that's what kind of made me want to message you because I've seen you wrap a variety of things. I saw you wrap a gun in a nice shade of purple. For those viewers that would like to see it, stay tuned. I will be putting it in this video. And also you were wrapping helmets. I thought that was actually pretty cool because, people want to match their bikes.
Mhm.
So what are some misconceptions that you have about rapping? Because in the last few months, I think rapping just boomed because I never really heard of rapping unless you were already driving a high-end car or you were already in the car scene. But when it came to the average person like myself, the only thing we really knew was about tinting, maybe ceramic protection, but wrapping was we always thought it was more for high-end cars. But then I saw so many people with the rust bucket Hondas and Toyotas, and
Yeah.
they're wrapping their cars. So what are some misconceptions that people have approached you? They're kind of scared. They're like, "Hey, RJ, are you sure it's not going to ruin the paint?" Or like, what are some of those things that you've come across?
Yeah, so typically people think that wrapping is a little overpriced. And I come from a body tech background. I mean, I went to school for a year. I graduated with a platinum certified for iCar, so I understand like the actual work that goes behind getting a legit paint job, and it's gonna cost you around 7 to 10 grand to get a real paint job. People will say, "Oh, why would you wrap your car? You should just get it painted at Mako and stuff." And it's like, I've seen jobs come back from Mako and they bring the car to me because the gaskets are painted, the chrome is painted. And so I'm sitting up here scratching off chrome, respraying gaskets before I even get the car actually wrapped. A lot of people are scared that when you take the wrap off, that the paint's gonna come with it, and it's just like it depends on your car. If you have a rust bucket where the paint is already chipping, the clear coat is already chipping, of course, yes, it's going to come off. Like the cars that I do the body work, and their car is already messed up,
Yeah.
they're cool with it. They know that their paint and clear coat is going to come off, but they don't want to go get it painted for 7,000. They rather get it wrapped for 2,500. So, and then you got the newer cars. If it's newer paint, no, it's not going to come off. A lot of people like to think that wraps only last like a year or two, but there's different kind of films that you have to use. There's calendar film and then there's cast film. So calendar film only lasts like a year or two, and then you got cast films, which 99% of the time I'm gonna recommend the cast film unless you have like some weird color, and I'm like, you can use calendar film, but it's not gonna last long. But cast films will last you like 3 to 4 years if you take care of it. So
Is there a big price difference between the two?
no, that's the crazy part. So it's like calendar film, a full roll is gonna run you about $600. And then cast film, you might be looking at around 750.
Oh,
So
that's not bad at all.
yeah, it's $150 difference, and the labor is the same regardless.
It's
So it's
pretty
like
much double the time that it's going to last as well.
exactly. So, you could try to save that 150, $200, or you could just go ahead and pay for the cast film, which most people do that I deal with because I just give them that disclaimer. Some shops, which I think is what kind of ruins like the industry. Some shops will pick the brand of wrap for you because they want to get the cheapest stuff so they can make the most marginal profit off of it. And we're not like that. We're just like, I'm gonna use the best film because I don't want you coming back to me in a year and a half complaining that your
Yeah,
wrap
and
is
a happy
hey,
customer is a lifetime customer. So,
exactly.
if you do a bad job the first time around, then guess what? They're not going to come around. So now that we're talking about different types of brands, what would you say is, well, firstly, if I wanted to wrap a car, do I just buy one roll, I guess, or two rolls of the same material, or are there multiple parts or things that I have to do? So, what kind of brands would you recommend, like good quality brands? Because I know there's hundreds of them.
Yeah. So let's say you're wrapping a coupe, a two door. You're gonna be looking at around probably 60 foot. Honestly, if you're doing it as a new time person, just get the full roll because there's gonna be mistakes. But as a professional rapper, we order two the exact amount that we need, maybe 5 to 10 foot more just in case. But the brands that you want to be using, cast film, of course, are going to be 3M, Avery, Orifel, KPFM, and Hexes. Those are the five that I use. They're all cast film, and I get all my wraps off of metrorestyling.com. So that's the website.
MetroRestyling.com.
Yeah, metrorestyling.com. And that's for the personal side. When it comes to the commercial side, you also most definitely want to print that stuff on cast film because they keep those kind of wraps on their vehicles for like 5 to 10 years. They don't care that it fades and stuff like that. So you definitely want the best material for that. I normally get my stuff printed out at weprintraps.com. Of course, some shops print their own stuff, but a printer costs like $20,000, $30,000. So yeah, I
Yeah, if
just
you're
let my
not
stuff print my stuff for me.
if you're not at the hundreds and hundreds of cars per month level, then there's no point in buying that crazy expensive machine.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Um,
got a couple people under your belt where you're doing a couple installs and stuff, but it's just me. I'm a one man show. So
and you know what? That's commendable because you have built your business to a very reputable length. So if I was a customer and I came into your shop, what would be, so right now I would like to know the process of the wrap. So I come in, I'm like, hey RJ, I saw your advertisement. I want to wrap my, let's just say for simpleness, a Honda Civic, um, blue, and I don't mind price. I'll pay for the premium wrap. So what would be the first thing that you would do? So give us some steps.
all right, so you walk in the door, you're asking about your Honda, you want a blue wrap. I would first try to figure out the specific color wrap that you want. So I have a bunch of color swatches at my shop, color books, if you will, but they're called color swatches. Has all the colors, maybe like 500 colors at the shop that you could pick from.
Oh,
So we'll try
nice.
to figure out a color that you like, basically like a sample. That's something you can also order online, but we have them in person if you want to come in person. Once you figure out the color that you like, we'll look it up. We'll see how much a full roll costs. And whatever the full roll cost is, that's going to be the deposit. So with the rapping world, everybody has a lot of dreams and aspirations and just want to talk about how they want their car. So it's like that's cool, but you can't get on the schedule until you put the deposit down. And once you put the deposit down, then we'll lock you in on a date. And then from there, you'll bring your car in. The process for me is first we got to get it disassembled. I want to get majority of the stuff off, like door handles, mirrors, shark fins, window trim, stuff like that, just so I can wrap deep enough that when I put those things back, that all the paint is covered. Then you want to make sure we clean everything down. Going to do the clay bar. Going to wipe it down with 70% isopropylene alcohol, just so the wrap has the best tackiness to the car and it lasts longer. And then from there, it's just the whole wrapping process. We get everything wrapped and then we reassemble it. And if you had some type of ceramic coating or something like that, we go ahead and throw that in. And then it's just let it sit outside for a few hours, see if anything's peeling back. And then you get your car back, and I'd ask for you to come back maybe like a week or two later so we could, look at touch ups, make sure nothing's like peeling any edges or anything like that, just to make sure your wrap lasts as long as it should.
That is some good customer satisfaction, asking them to come back a week later because usually most businesses, they might say 60-day warranty, 90-day warranty, but as soon as you leave that door, I mean, who knows what they're gonna do in 20
Yeah.
days.
And at the
Uh,
end of the day, it's a sticker. So it's like, come back, we got to make sure everything laid down right. If something's not right at that point when you come back, like if the hood's peeling or something like that, I normally have extra wraps. So it's like, okay, give me 15 minutes. I'll rewrap this hood real quick and then get it back to you. And then everything should be good on the car and you should be good. So
Exactly. And in that week, they can go home to whatever state they're in or city they're in. The weather's going to be different from where you are. They can
mm,
test out the weather, test out their environment. So no, it totally makes sense. That's actually some really good customer satisfaction. And what would you say is kind of the coolest car you've wrapped? Or have you wrapped a Cybertruck yet? Because I know a lot of people are trying to wrap Cybertrucks. I see it on Instagram all the time. What do you think of the Cybertruck? Do you actually like it? Do you think it's a nice car, interior, exterior? Because I've never seen one or touched one, so I'm only seeing from what I've seen. But what do you think of the
Yeah,
Cybertruck?
I like it. I actually had one pre-ordered,
Oh,
but
nice.
I ended up getting a Bronco before it came out and kind of figured out I'm just a sports car guy. So I never ended up getting it, but I have seen a couple of them around town. Had a couple of people come in that wanted to get theirs wrapped, but they also didn't go through with their delivery orders and stuff like that. So no, I haven't got my hands on one yet. Like I said, probably like five people have contacted me trying to get those wrapped, but nothing yet. But I have wrapped I just got done with a 1967 Mustang. That's the
Oh,
oldest
that's a
car.
classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's the oldest car I've ever wrapped. A lot of intricate details.
What was the
Typically
original color and what did they end up getting?
it was red. So we ended up wrapping it matte frost blue. This was like this
Oh.
customer's third time in 1 year getting his car wrapped too. So yeah, there's a whole YouTube video up for it and everything. If you want to follow RJ the Rapper
Yeah.
YouTube.
My viewers, I'll be putting all of RJ's details in the description box, his YouTube channel, Instagram. I've checked out some of his YouTube videos. It's actually really cool of how he takes apart cars, fixes cars, puts them together, wraps cars. I think you'll like it, especially if you're a car person. So RJ, what would you say is some of your biggest challenges that you faced in growing your business, or things that you've overcome? Because I know, as we said, that you started off, with one or two cars in your driveway, and then you grew from there. But what would you say is some of maybe one or two major challenges that you faced,
Um,
other
so
than the other car rappers hating on you?
yeah, when you're first starting out, it's really just the doubt. With every beginning of a business, you're like, is this gonna work out? Stuff like that. So when I was first starting out, I had a couple of jobs where they were horrible. Like I wrapped a whole motorcycle. I wrapped a whole motorcycle in calendar film, not knowing that calendar film peels back really easy and it's not made for complex curves like cast film is. The whole motorcycle peeled back. I had to refund the customer. Lost money on that one. Had like two other cars where I had a lot of peel back and stuff because I overstretched and stuff. Just trying to learn how to actually do it, and it almost like drove me away from actually starting the business. But I just pushed through and I got really good at wrapping cars from there. Like now I have sponsors. Everybody looks up to me when it comes to like car wraps and stuff like that. So I've grown a lot in that space. And then my next hurdle was commercial. And commercial is not like color change. Color change, you get 75 feet. You might use 50 feet of it, right? So you got extra just in case you mess up. Commercial, it's all printed on one wrap. Once you put it on, if you mess it up, you have to order the whole thing over again. And the commercial wrap could be like $1,600,
Oh,
something like that.
wow.
So if I mess up one side,
And it's
700.
like printing for like food trucks and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
printing for
Oh,
food
wow.
trucks. And if you lay that whole side and something's crooked or something like that, there goes $700. So and then you got to reorder it, and then you got to tell them, they got to print it and laminate it. It's going to take 2 days for it to come out. So the timeline gets extended, pushes into your next vehicle, and it's just yeah, it
And
can be a mess in the beginning. Learning how to do commercial wraps was kind of a challenge. But once we actually figured everything out and got used to doing commercial wraps, those are double the profit of actual personal wraps. And I
because
love,
it's
yeah,
usually from companies that have a set budget. They're like, okay, we have a
yeah,
$50,000 budget for, our fleet of cars that we have to do this to. So they're not really worried about money and costs as much as, the average person who has their own, personal car and is like, hey, I got, $3,000. What can you do?
exactly. And
Yeah.
there's less finagling of prices. You have a lot of people with their personal vehicles that feel like things should be less. And honestly, when you look at it, I had a trailer for the Animal Humane Society. It's a really long trailer.
Yeah, with those big
$10,000.
projects, how do you work by yourself or?
Yeah, I work by myself, but I just panel them panel by
Mm.
panel. I just work down the vehicle, but it's fairly easy. It's a flat side, and I'm just working the vinyl down versus working on the car. It might take me like 3 days versus this trailer that might take 2 days. But if you mess up on the trailer, the material is more, but this job pays 10 grand. This job pays 3 grand. So it's just like,
They each have their pros and cons.
they have their
Uh,
pros and cons.
with the
More risk,
commercial,
more
it's like
reward.
no mistakes allowed. With the
Mhm.
personal, you have some type of leeway of making a mistake here and there, but it's kind of easy to fix up.
Yeah.
And so when you as you said, you started off with no money in. Eventually, how did you get funding? Was it just traditional banks, family and friends, maybe investors? How did you get the funding moving forward?
Actually, I fully funded everything myself.
Oh, no way. Good job.
I've never took a loan for anything. When I was starting up, when I actually was working at a wrap shop, I started ordering my tools. I probably spent like $3,000 ordering tools before I even started. And then once I actually got here, I started doing my advertising. I started ordering my computer setups, my cameras, my mics, all that stuff. Probably spent another 20,000 on just a bunch of different stuff for my setup, but that came purely from the business profits. So I've never had to take out a loan or anything like that. I have a business bank account. I have a business credit card, stuff like that. I use the credit card sometimes and pay it back, but I've never had to take out a loan for anything.
That's honestly amazing because especially during these times where interest rates are like through the roof, you don't
Yeah.
even have to pay that. You're in the clear. You have no debt. You're a free person. And so, and of course, I know a lot of people during COVID, especially business people, when they were trying to take loans and funding out, they were getting denied left, right, and center. Like banks were not giving any money out. And how long have you had this business for? Like, when was the day you said, okay, this is it? Because it seems like you were funding yourself during while you were working at the car wrapping business as well. So you were slowly, adding things to your inventory. So I guess during the car wrap business is when you decided, okay, I'm going to branch out on my own, right?
hmm Yeah, so I'm going on my third year of my actual LLC being formed and running this business. Of course, I've been rapping for probably like 5 to 6 years, but I'm going on my third year as an actual business.
Official business. Okay.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And what were some of we already talked about challenges that you've had as a business owner, but now looking at a more race-based, your skin color, what challenges may have you had as a Black entrepreneur? Maybe some car wrappers were like, "Hey, you can't do that because this is our thing," or did you have any negative experiences when it comes to that issue?
Um, no, I definitely haven't had anything crazy. I would say coming into this car wrapping space, you don't see a lot of like black people up in the higher echelons of the car wrapping thing, going to SEMA, going to RapCon, having sponsors and stuff like that. That's kind of like something that I didn't see a lot. So with me getting like 2 or 3 sponsorships, I'm like the first person I know that's done that.
But when you go to these conventions, are the most popular, biggest funded, I'm guessing non-blacks, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly more mostly white people.
But
There's
why
not
is that? Is it because blacks don't want to do this field, or is it because it's hard to get into this field? Because I think it's a really awesome field, and cars are something that everybody's gonna need, whether it's electric or gas. And I think that it's going to be something that we're going to evolve in the future because I know just recently, I think PPF colored wrap started becoming a little bit popular
yeah.
compared to what's currently out now. So I think it's just going to be evolving. But why isn't there more representation? Is it like, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's more so when it comes to car wrapping, you don't see any franchises. You don't see any major,
Ah,
major shops, any huge shops or anything like that. Everybody is typically your one man LLC, or they're a wrap shop with just a few workers. So
like a
I
family
think that
business or
just
something.
yeah, I think that just stems from like black business not being a very big thing for for black entrepreneurs. There aren't really a lot of us, and it's just one of those spaces that are kind of untapped.
So it's
But I have seen a lot of black people in the space, just not none of them in the bigger positions yet.
So it's more of a entrepreneur issue rather than the actual industry. It's um blacks are not as represented, not because the field is limiting them. It's more
Yeah.
of blacks should having more of an entrepreneurial mind state, and that's kind of the dividing factor, I guess. Um Here, because I'm from Canada, so here in Canada, car wrapping is beginning to boom. We never had a car wrapping business up until I would say the beginning of this year. And I think it's because of the popularity of the United States, popularity of social media, uh, making vinyl wraps pretty cool because I think I've seen a few that were just astonishing, especially wrapping, rims, wrapping headlights, all of that. Now that the elections are coming up, especially for the United States in a few months, what is your not about voting, but I've talked to a lot of CEOs and business owners who've said that they would lean towards a Republican winner and a Republican leader because of less regulations, less taxes, less red tape, and so on. What are your thoughts on politics? Do you think politics will affect your business at all? Does it matter who wins or who doesn't win? Is this a field where you can still expand and boom without politics being interfered? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, typically, I mean, being African American, growing up in my household, I was always taught that you should be a Democrat. That's kind of like the go-to thing. But as I became a entrepreneur and started running my own business, I realized I kind of want to vote Republican. Like there's so many tax incentives and stuff. I mean, Donald Trump, he definitely is leaning more towards helping out businesses and stuff like that. So when it comes to my business, I mean that's how I make my money. So I would lean more towards someone who's giving me tax breaks, who's loosening regulations, who's what do you say? He might be cutting a payroll tax and
Yeah,
all these little breaks that we get because we spend a lot in taxes. Taxation is, I think, it's ridiculous. I mean, we used to go to war over this, over how bad taxes were, and now we're just letting all our money go.
taking it lying down.
Yeah, just it's just became a big problem, and I don't feel like we should be paying as much in taxes. So yeah, I'm leaning towards anyone that's gonna help put more money in my pocket,
I
and that would be
agree.
the Republican
Uh,
Party. Yeah.
I definitely agree because during the lockdowns of COVID, I mean, thousands, hundreds of thousands of businesses were closed down and bankrupt and pretty much non-existent. I think the best thing for any country, especially United States and Canada, since we are the biggest West countries, I think the game plan should be creating and helping businesses to get us out of this moment that we're in because we're not doing too well, I would say. And you're absolutely right. The party that's going to reduce taxes, reduce red tape, and just making business owners feel appreciated and feel like you have a chance, you're able to do this is a lot better than the side that says we got to raise taxes because the earth is going to burn. So it's going to be a make it or break it election because the policies are very different, I would say, this time around. And I'm glad that politics isn't going to be too much of a negative for your business because some people are dreading one side compared to the other. As a Canadian, I can't vote. I can't really put in my physical opinion by going to the voting booth. However, We just watch it from the outside. But hey, we have a lot to learn from our own politics as well, because our taxation is absolutely through the roof. Um, if we actually compared gas prices, we're sitting at about $8 a gallon.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
know.
good.
It's wild. So now looking forward to the future, what do you see about car wrapping, the automotive industry evolving? Because the biggest evolution that we've had in the car industry was electric cars, self-driving cars. Those were the biggest evolution. Other than self-driving and what type of energy that we use, in general, what do you think the future of automotive will look like?
Um, Honestly, from what I've been seeing, I mean, there's hydrogen that they've been talking about. I
Oh,
don't,
yes, yes.
yeah, there's hydrogen. I don't really know how long it will take to make those cars affordable. I know they said they were trying to go as at some point they were trying to go fully electric by 2030 or something like that. I honestly I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, if you look at these car communities, you look at people who just love gas powered cars, it's pretty steep. Electric cars have really fell off a lot from the popularity that they had in the beginning. So I'm kind of interested to see what's actually gonna happen. As for my industry, I know it's just going to keep getting more creative. I'm always looking for new ways to promote my brand. Recently, I did like the half black and red race car design on my M4 to kind of promote my
Ooh.
brand, and people absolutely love that. So I'm gonna have to find something to top that next time. But
Hey,
it's
maybe
more
a glow in the dark wrap. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah, something crazy like that. It's more of like people are kind of moving away from like the basic wraps. Now people are moving into like the color change PPF and stuff like that, which are really expensive by the way. Those jobs are probably
Yeah.
double the amount of wrap jobs. So I don't think wrap's going away. I think, you know, for the higher end clients, there's your color options for PPF, but I do not think wraps are going away because we're already having a hard time getting people to pay those prices. But yeah, I mean, I think cars are just gonna get faster, get cooler, more technology. I know when I was going to school, they were getting ready to phase out a lot of the original mechanics just because cars are starting to have so like the hybrids and they're starting to have more electrical components where you're going to need certifications to actually be able to work on these cars, period,
They're
for
like
maintenance.
computer engineers.
Yeah, so and I know we've been as a our company as trade workers, we've kind of been slacking, so I'm kind of wondering who's gonna fill those voids and actually go to school to work on, you know, these cars and stuff. It's gonna be interesting because it's kind of hard to find any new mechanics. You got your old guys, but when they're gone, it's like you know, we need people to go to
100%.
school and get those certifications and
I
work.
I 100% agree with you. So I actually spoke with a CEO last week, and he said that the electric vehicle industry is only about 5 to 10% of the United States, and it doesn't look like it's going to be mainstream and popular because a lot of people
Yeah.
are still resorting to gas. Like myself, I personally will not go electric until they literally force me to get electric. It's just reliability. We have too many problems. One of my buddies was going up north for it's like an hour drive, to ski country, and he had to stop to refill his Tesla like 3 times in an hour. It was winter time. They, had the heat on. They were playing music, so that just drains the electricity. So it's not as reliable as a lot of people think. But yeah, I agree with you that the evolution of cars is going to be something where it's just creativity and imagination. A lot of cars these days are coming in with so many cool designs, like BMW, especially with the competition series. Amazing, beautiful cars. Like your M4, a beautiful car. So
Mhm.
I think when it comes to creativity and imagination, I think that's the only way to go because horsepower, I mean, no one's gonna drive like a maniac on a regular street, right?
Yeah,
Well,
even though
some people do.
they just came out with the new Corvette that's supposed to be 1,000, I think it's 1,000 horsepower off the
No
lot.
way.
I think is
Is it
ridiculous.
road ready or is it just for track?
Apparently, it's road ready. So
OMG.
I thought that was ridiculous. I've tried the electric cars. I had a Tesla Model S for a while. Ended up getting rid of it because I was making a trip from Cali to Arizona to wrap somebody's car. Car almost died in the middle of the desert.
Oh, no way.
I was like, I'm not, I'm not doing this. So,
No way. At
yeah,
least
I
with
had an
gas,
electric car.
there's one every block.
Yeah, yeah, and I almost ended up having to buy a new battery because you can't really use the supercharger a lot. So I had to charge from home, which is extremely
Oh,
slow.
no.
It's just too much effort, and as a society where we our attention spans are very short and we have very thin patience. You can't introduce all this extra work into our lives when we're already having to work two jobs just to get a apartment by ourselves. No one wants to come home and sit at a charger for an hour.
Exactly.
You
And
know, it's
forbid your city has a power outage. Well, guess what? You can't to charge up your car that night. Yeah, it's not feasible yet. Maybe in the future, long term, I would say maybe, but at this point, gas all the way. Gas all the way.
yeah.
So RJ, before we end off our interview, is there any type of advice that you would love to give to an aspiring entrepreneur in the car wrapping industry or just in the automotive industry as a whole? So, any type of advice, motivation.
Okay, so typically what I get a lot, I get probably hundreds of DMs a year asking me, how do I get started? How do I get into this
This
and
is
do
it, folks. RJ is
things?
going to give us the secrets.
Yeah, I just mainly what I do is I do try to inspire people with my work. That's why I do post. I also post for, leads and hope to be monetized one day, stuff like that. But typically most people are scared to just pull the trigger. I mean, you could buy a very cheap wrap. You could buy cheetah wrap. I think it's like $400 or $500 a roll right now, and you really just got to get hands on with it. There's two classes that, well, really one that you need to go to. It's called Elite Rappers. They actually have a page on Instagram, and they have classes all around the United States that you could go to. Beginner classes, expert classes that you could learn commercial raps. You could learn PPF from XPEL. I'm certified for PPF by XPEL, even though I don't do a lot of PPF at all. I don't even do it anymore.
It's
But it's just something, I just take classes.
a good skill to
Watch,
have.
yeah, it's a good skill to have. I watch YouTube videos. I went to these classes, and it's just like you just have to educate yourself. Like nothing's gonna be free. Just like you go to college for, I don't know what it costs, 40, 80K, 100K for some people. Spend that $1,000 to go do a class, spend another $500 to get a roll, you could literally spend $100 on, a starter kit from Amazon, starter kit, wrapping kit from Amazon, and just, go to work on your car, go to work on your mom's car, your dad's car, your family and friends, and just kind of get the hang of it, get hired at a wrap shop, do some work, have some people mentor you and show you how to do it. And if you get to the point where you want to run your own business, because car wrapping is basically everyone's running their own business. Most people in California are contracted to wrap cars at these shops. There's not really a lot of employees in the wrap world because every person has a different work ethic, and they're good in their own ways at certain projects, cars or commercials. So it's just getting your hands on, making the necessary investments to actually become a rapper, to actually get into the industry and learn these things. And that's really all. Just take the classes, spend the money to get the material and tools, and just start, you know.
100%, 1,000,000%. My viewers, just understand that when it comes to starting a business, yes, you will not make $1,000,000 your first day. Yes, you will not make $10,000,000 your first year. But guess what? You will be learning so much on the way there that when that time comes, you will actually, one, be very skilled in what you're doing. Two, you're going to be proud of your achievement. I mean, why not? And three, you can now actually probably create some type of generational wealth, some type of streaming income. You hire someone, you take a maybe a portion of whatever the client is offering you, boom, you can slowly start your business. And remember, my friends and my viewers, you need to make sure that you have a main business. Do not quit your 9 to 5 right away. Okay.
No.
If you do eventually want to start a business, guess where your money's coming from? Your 9 to 5. And RJ, I know you were in the military, but did you kind of have a non-auto 9 to 5, maybe working at McDonald's, maybe Walmart, just to kind of maybe get a glimpse into that? You know, you've been there.
So for me, when I got out the military, I got out on disability. So I was already making around 2,500 a month just from my disability income. I was pretty much gonna get med boarded out, but decided to finish out my term in National Guard. So I was making that money. I was gonna make the money from National Guard or disability. You can't get them both at the same time. But now that I'm out of National Guard, I get my disability. And then also I was day trading at the same time I was learning how to rap. I think that year I put $4,000 into the market and turned it into 40K.
What?
Yeah, just grinding every morning. That was back during the AMC GameStop hype. So I was just sitting up there on YouTube, following other YouTubers and their trades and stuff and just
No,
making money
100.
work for me. Yeah.
That is amazing. You actually used your time for a for a purpose. Hey, who knows? I might have to bring you back on, and you can teach my viewers how to day trade, what
Oh yeah.
options are, what leveraging is, things like that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
actually good to know because I know a few people who day trade and whatever they're doing, because I don't know how to day trade, but whatever they're doing, I'm just astonished. I'm like, how did you know that was gonna happen? It's all about patterns and algorithms, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that's good. So, RJ, thank you so, so much for being here with me today. You have dropped some incredible information, not only about car wrapping or the auto industry, but just in life in general, starting a business, entrepreneurship, the challenges that you have to go through, both as an entrepreneur and as a Black entrepreneur. So I do highly appreciate that, RJ. Now, before we end off, is there any projects coming up, any events that you're going to be hosting or being at, any conventions?
Oh yeah. I got a lot coming up. I got a lot coming up.
That's good to hear.
Right now I'm actually doing I'm doing a charger right now. It's the first time that we print wraps have they sent me this wrap for free. So it's a fade from mocha to black. So I'm gonna be posting that on my YouTube here in
Ooh,
probably about 2 days. I'm still working on it right now. And then not too long after that, I'm gonna be working on one of the most expensive cars I ever worked on. It's a GT4. And the tank is
nice.
gonna be custom wrap. So I'm gonna be wrapping it black, layering on some red and white, and then putting a bunch of race decals on it. So that's gonna be a fun project. I will be at SEMA this year with my with one of my sponsors. So you can catch me at the SEMA show.
Thank you so much, RJ. And my viewers, I will be putting all of RJ's details and all his upcoming events in the description box. So please check him out. His Instagram is highly knowledgeable, especially for those of you that do want to get into the automotive field. And for those of you that just are into cars, definitely check out his Instagram and his YouTube channel. So, my viewers, I hope you have an awesome day. And RJ, thank you for being here with me today. So,
Thank
until the
you.
next time, stay ranting.